Lieutenant Daniel Reese stood at the edge of the royal garden, scanning the peaceful surroundings with focused eyes. His boots sank slightly into the soft blue grass of Virelia, a distant planet filled with strange beauty and gentle sunlight. It was his first time off Earth. And though he had trained for this mission, nothing had prepared him for how different this world would feel. The trees here shimmered with colors that changed in the wind. Flowers hummed soft melodies. Even the air had a soft scent, like fresh rain and fruit. Daniel was part of the Earth delegation, sent to build peaceful relations with the Virelian Empire. He wasn't a diplomat. He was a soldier, a guard. His job was to protect the Earth ambassador and ensure that no harm came to the humans during their stay. The royal palace guards kept their distance, tall and graceful in their silver armor. They didn't speak to him much. Their expressions were calm but unreadable. He didn't mind. He was used to being quiet, used to watching from the shadows. That was his strength. But something unexpected was about to happen, from behind a tall wall of glowing blue plants. Someone was watching him. Her name was Princess Asera, and she had never seen a human before. She had heard stories, of course. Strange beings from far away, made of dense bones and fast minds. Some of the older nobles called humans dangerous. Others called them brave. Asera didn't know what to believe. All she knew was that she was curious, deeply curious. When her advisors told her not to approach the humans, it only made her want to meet one even more. And now, standing alone among the silver trees, she saw one for the first time. He looked so different. His skin was tanned and slightly rough, not smooth and pale like the Virelians. His eyes were sharp, scanning everything. His posture was firm but not stiff. He seemed alert but not nervous. Asera stepped forward, quietly at first. Daniel heard the soft rustle and turned. What he saw made him blink in surprise. She was unlike anything he'd seen. Her hair shimmered like moonlight, flowing past her shoulders. Her skin had a soft, pearl-pink glow. Her eyes, large and clear, held a mix of intelligence and wonder. She wore a flowing robe made of fabric so fine it moved like water in the wind. "Are you human?" she asked, her voice gentle, like music. Daniel straightened. "Yes, Your Highness. Lieutenant Daniel Reese, Earth Security." Asera tilted her head slightly. "Security? You are a protector?" "Yes," he nodded, unsure how much he was allowed to say. She stepped closer, examining him with great interest. "I've read about humans, but you are not as frightening as they described. You look thoughtful." Daniel gave a small smile. "We're not all frightening. Some of us just do our jobs and try to stay out of trouble." Asera laughed softly. It was the first time anyone had spoken to her without formality in weeks. "I'm Asera," she said, "but I think you already knew that." He nodded. "Yes, Princess." She motioned to the garden. "Would you like to walk with me?" Daniel hesitated. "I'm not sure if I'm allowed to." "I'm the princess," she smiled. "I give you permission." He relaxed slightly and began to walk beside her, still alert, still watching. But inside, he was surprised. This was no ordinary royal. She was curious, kind, and not afraid to speak her mind. As they walked through the garden paths, she asked him questions about Earth, about human cities, about what it felt like to fly through space. Daniel answered each question simply, choosing his words carefully. He told her about the forests of Earth, about rain and snow, about music and movies. She listened closely, eyes wide, as if each word was a treasure. When he described the stars seen from a mountain at night, she suddenly stopped walking. "That sounds beautiful," she whispered. "It is," Daniel said softly. "Maybe someday you'll see it yourself." She looked at him for a long moment. "Maybe I will." From a high tower in the palace, two Virelian nobles watched the garden below with frowns on their faces. "This is dangerous," one whispered. "The princess grows too close to that human." "She is young," said the other. "She will forget him in time." But neither of them believed it. Something had changed in her eyes, something no one could control. As the sun of Virelia began to set, casting gold and violet light across the garden, Asera turned to Daniel and said, "Thank you. For what?" "For speaking to me like a person, not just a princess." Daniel smiled. "It was my honor." She looked up at the sky. "Tomorrow, will you walk with me again?" He paused for a moment, then nodded. "If it's allowed, I'll be here." And with that, the princess gave a small, graceful bow and disappeared into the shadows of the palace. Daniel stood alone for a moment, the cool wind brushing against his face. He had a feeling that this mission had just become much more complicated and much more important. The next morning, as soft light spread across the Varelian palace, Lieutenant Daniel Reese stood quietly at the edge of the royal garden once again. His posture was the same as before, calm, alert, professional, but something had changed inside him. He had spent most of the night thinking about his strange and unexpected meeting with Princess Asera. He had not expected the princess of an alien world to be so human, curious, kind, bold. She had asked him about Earth with genuine interest and listened as if every word mattered. He hadn't smiled that much in weeks. As Daniel stood near the silver trees, pretending to check his scanner, he heard the soft sound of approaching footsteps. She was here. Princess Asera stepped into the sunlight, her long robe shimmering in the breeze. Her smile appeared as soon as she saw him. "You came," she said. "I said I would," Daniel replied with a small nod. "And humans always keep their word?" "We try our best," he said, "especially when someone important is waiting." Asera's smile widened. Without another word, she motioned for him to walk with her again. The two of them walked slowly along the stone paths of the royal garden. Around them, the glowing plants gently swayed, and the birds, small floating creatures with crystal wings, sang a quiet tune. "I couldn't stop thinking about our conversation yesterday," Asera said, looking at him. "Earth sounds so different from my home." "It is," Daniel agreed. "But it also has things you might find familiar. Trees, oceans, family." Asera's expression softened. "Do you have a family, Daniel?" He hesitated. "Not many left. My father passed when I was a teen. My mother lives in a quiet town. We talk sometimes, but not often." "I'm sorry," Asera said quietly. "It's all right," he replied. "Duty keeps me busy. That's the life I chose." "And now you're here," she said, tilting her head thoughtfully. "On my world." I didn't expect to be talking with a princess, though. "I didn't expect to enjoy speaking with a soldier," she said playfully. They both laughed. But while they talked and laughed, eyes were watching. High above, on a floating balcony, a group of Varelian council members observed the two with cold expressions. "The princess continues her meetings with the human," one said, folding his hands behind his back. "She breaks tradition," another replied. "No royal has ever spent time with an outsider like this." "She grows too close," a third added. "This may ruin the engagement talks with House Tauren." The mention of House Tauren brought silence. That political union had been carefully arranged for years, meant to bring peace between two powerful, noble families. A princess growing fond of a human might undo it all. "We must intervene," one of them said. Back in the garden, Asera had brought Daniel to a peaceful corner where small blue fountains rose from the ground, creating musical sounds in the air. "This is my favorite place," she said. "It was my mother's before she passed away." Daniel looked around. "It's beautiful, peaceful. She used to bring me here when I was little." Asera said, sitting on a smooth stone bench. She believed water carried memories, that it could hold voices of the past. Daniel sat beside her, careful to keep a respectful distance. Do you believe that too? I'm not sure, she said. But sometimes when I sit here, I feel like I can still hear her singing. Daniel didn't know what to say, so he simply nodded. After a moment, Asera turned to him. What do humans think of Varelians? He thought for a moment. Many humans are curious. Some are cautious. Some are afraid of what they don't understand. But most of us, we just want peace, friendship. She looked into his eyes. And what about you? I think Varelians are incredible, he said honestly. Elegant, smart, kind, at least the ones I've met. Asera blushed slightly and looked away. You say kind things. I say what I see, Daniel replied. Later that day, in the palace chambers, Asera's father, the High King of Varelia, called her to a private meeting. You've been spending time with the human soldier, the king said, his voice calm but serious. Asera stood tall. Yes, father. You are a royal. The only heir to the throne. You must be careful. I understand. There are those in the court who disapprove, the king said. They see danger in this closeness. I'm not a child, Asera said firmly. I know what I'm doing. I don't doubt your wisdom, the king replied. But the world around you is not always kind, nor is it always honest. Asera's hands curled into fists. Daniel is honest. I believe he is, the king said, but others may not see it that way. You must be wise, Asera. You carry more than just your heart. You carry your people's hopes. She lowered, her head slightly. Yes, father. But inside, her heart was firm. She knew Daniel, and she trusted him. The next few days, Asera began to appear more often around Daniel. At first it was small, meeting him during his patrols, bringing him questions about Earth history, asking him to show her human writing. Then she started watching his training sessions with the human guards, even cheering when he won a practice round. The other humans began to notice. Looks like you've got a fan, Lieutenant, joked one of the Earth soldiers. Daniel only smiled, but not everyone was amused. The Varelian nobles began whispering. The royal advisors grew tense, and somewhere deep in the palace, in a shadowed room, a secret plan was forming. The silver moon of Varelia hung low in the sky as Lieutenant Daniel Reese walked silently through the palace corridor. The air was cool, and the soft glow from the wall crystals gave the halls a peaceful look. But Daniel's heart wasn't calm. Tonight, something felt wrong. For days now, he had noticed strange movements. Royal guards whispered quietly when he passed. High-ranking nobles glanced his way, then turned quickly. And Princess Asera's advisors had started to follow her at a closer distance, like silent shadows. Daniel couldn't ignore it. As a soldier, his instincts had kept him alive more than once. And now, those instincts were telling him something. Dangerous was coming. Earlier that day, he had been training in the courtyard with the other human guards when Princess Asera arrived with a wide smile. I've brought something for you, she said. From behind her, a servant stepped forward, with a silver box. Inside was a long scarf, deep blue with thin golden threads. It's a gift, Asera said shyly. I wove it myself, for your service and your company. Daniel was surprised. No one had ever given him a royal gift before. He took the scarf gently. Thank you, Your Highness. It's beautiful. Her smile grew. I'm glad you like it. I thought the color might match your eyes. The other soldiers looked at each other but said nothing. Asera stayed to watch the rest of the training, sitting quietly as Daniel led a group in a mock battle drill. But someone else was watching too, from high in the tower above, hidden behind tinted glass. In a hidden room beneath the palace, 4 nobles sat in a circle, their faces tense. "She grows too close to the human," said one. "It weakens her role as heir." "Her feelings cloud her judgment," said another. "She should be focused on her royal duties, not on stories of Earth." "We must act," said the third, "before the bond becomes too strong." The fourth noble, the oldest, spoke slowly. "We have waited long enough. The human must be removed quietly. If she resists, she will learn the cost of disobedience." They all nodded. That night, their plan began. It was near midnight when Daniel heard it, a soft beep on his communicator. A message from an unknown source. It was short but clear. "Security breach detected. South wing. Possible threat to the safe. Princess. Urgent." Daniel was already running before the message ended. He didn't wait for backup. If Asera was in danger, he wasn't going to waste a second. He reached the south wing quickly. The halls were quiet, but something was off. The door to her chambers was slightly open. That never happened. He stepped inside quietly, hand on his weapon. "Princess," he called softly. No answer. Suddenly he heard a noise behind him, a hiss, then a sharp clang. The door slammed shut. Before he could react, 2 masked figures rushed at him with metal staffs. Daniel dodged the first swing, blocking the second with his arm. Pain shot through him, but he stayed on his feet. With quick steps, he punched one attacker in the chest, sending him into the wall. The other came at him again, swinging fast. Daniel ducked and kicked the attacker's legs, making him fall hard. He grabbed the staff and held it firmly. "I don't want to hurt you," he warned, but the attackers didn't speak. They only came again. This time, Daniel didn't hold back. With fast, precise moves, he knocked both of them down and pulled off one of their masks. What he saw shocked him. It was not a common thief or a foreign spy. It was a royal guard, a Varelian soldier from inside the palace. Before he could question him, the guard pressed a small device on his wrist and vanished in a flash of white light. At the same moment, in another part of the palace, Princess Asera was locked inside a quiet chamber guarded by 2 tall figures. "You can't do this!" she shouted. "Let me out!" One of the guards stepped forward. "Forgive us, Princess. This is for your protection. You've been influenced by the outsider. You will remain here until the council decides your future." "You're wrong!" Asera cried. "Daniel is loyal. He saved our people. He's my friend." The guards didn't respond. They turned and stood still like statues. Asera's eyes filled with tears, but not from fear, from anger. She clenched her fists and looked toward the glowing ceiling. Her heart beat fast, not for herself, but for him. She didn't know what was happening, but she knew he was in danger, and she knew she had to get out. Daniel rushed to the palace control center and showed the footage of the attack to the human ambassador and the royal guards. One Varelian officer watched the screen and turned pale. "These are palace uniforms. This attack came from inside." "Where's the princess now?" Daniel asked quickly. "She's in a secured chamber," one of the officers said, checking the monitor. "She was placed under watch by order of the council." Daniel's voice hardened. "She's being held prisoner." The ambassador frowned. "Lieutenant, we must be careful. This is their planet, their system." "She's in danger," Daniel said, "and if we don't act now, they'll silence her voice forever." The ambassador looked at him for a long second, then nodded. "Go. But do it quietly. No harm must come to the peace agreement." Daniel didn't wait. He moved fast. Using a hidden passage Asera had shown him days earlier, Daniel reached the chamber where she was held. The guards outside didn't expect a human to appear from the shadows. Before they could react, Daniel stunned them both with a pulse device. He opened the door. Asera looked up and smiled with relief. "You came." "Always," he said. She ran to him and threw her arms around him without thinking. "They said you were a danger." "They said the same about you," he said. She pulled back. What now? We run, and we find the truth. Hand in hand, they disappeared into the night, leaving the palace, the lies, and the danger behind them. For now. The Varelian night was deep and still as Lieutenant Daniel Reese and Princess Asera slipped through the palace gardens. The silver moonlight painted the strange plants in gentle blue and green shades. The only sounds were their soft footsteps and the distant hum of the city. Asera's heart beat fast, not from fear, but from hope. For the first time in days, she was free. Free from the cold walls of the chamber and the harsh eyes of the council. And beside her was the one person she trusted most in the universe. Daniel glanced at her, keeping a careful watch on their surroundings. We can't stay in the city, he said quietly. They'll search everywhere. Asera nodded. There's an old forest outside the palace walls. It's safe. The council fears it because of old legends, but I know it well. Lead the way, Daniel said. Together they moved quickly, slipping past guards and security sensors. The secret passages Asera had learned as a child made it easier, but danger was everywhere. The shadows felt thick and watching. Outside the palace, the forest was a living sea of glowing leaves and soft moss underfoot. Strange flowers opened slowly in the moonlight. The air smelled sweet and fresh. Asera stopped to catch her breath. I come here when I want to think, she said. No one follows me. Daniel looked around with wide eyes. It's beautiful. Asera smiled softly. This place holds many secrets. They walked deeper into the woods, their hands brushing, as they moved side by side. Neither spoke for a long moment. Then, Asera broke the silence. Daniel, do you believe our worlds could truly be friends? Not just allies on paper, but friends. Daniel stopped and looked at her. I do, if we try hard enough. I think humans and Varelians have more in common than anyone realizes. Her eyes brightened. I feel the same. I want to learn more about your world. And you. Daniel smiled. Then we have a lot to discover. As they walked, Asera told Daniel stories of her childhood in the palace, the games she played, the lessons she learned, the dreams she had. Daniel shared tales from Earth, the simple joys of rain, the thrill of the sea, the taste of fresh fruit. Suddenly, they came upon ancient ruins hidden beneath the thick forest vines. Stone pillars stood tall, covered in strange symbols glowing. Faintly with blue light, Asera's voice dropped to a whisper. These ruins are old, older than the kingdom itself. They are said to be the meeting place of our ancestors, long before the records. Daniel stepped closer, touching the stones. Could this mean humans and Varelians met before? It is possible, Asera said. But the truth was lost or hidden. They spent a quiet moment together, the weight of history around them. But their escape did not go unnoticed. Back at the palace, the council was in chaos. The princess had disappeared. Security systems had failed. The nobles exchanged worried looks. We must find them, the oldest noble said. If the princess escapes with the human, our plans will collapse. An elite team of palace guards was sent to search the forest. They carried advanced tracking devices that could scan heat signatures and biological markers. Daniel and Asera could feel the pressure. They knew they had little time. After hours of running and hiding, they found a small cave by a sparkling stream. It was dark and cool inside, but safe enough for a rest. Asera sat on a stone, exhausted but smiling. I never thought I'd feel this free. Daniel handed her a water flask. You've been brave. She looked at him with soft eyes. I'm brave because I have you. They sat quietly, the night stretching around them. Suddenly, a sharp noise cut through the calm. Leaves rustled loudly. Daniel stood quickly, hand on his weapon. From the shadows, a figure stepped forward. It was not a guard, but a young Varelian woman, her face pale and eyes wide. "Princess Asera," she said nervously. "I mean no harm. I want to help you." Asera looked at her carefully. "Who are you?" "My name is Lyra," she said. "I am part of the palace staff, but I don't agree with what the council is doing. They want to keep you locked away." Daniel studied Lyra. She seemed honest, but trust was fragile in this moment. "Why help us?" Daniel asked. "Because I believe in the future you two can build," Lyra said. "Please follow me. I know a way to get beyond the palace guards." Trusting Lyra was a risk, but they had little choice. They followed her through a hidden path that twisted deep into the forest. The glow of the palace lights faded behind them. After what felt like hours, they reached an ancient platform covered in vines. There was a strange machine with softly pulsing lights. "This is an old transport gate," Lyra explained. "It was built long ago when the kingdom was younger. It can send you far, fast, but only once." Asera looked at Daniel. "If we use this, we might escape the palace for good." Daniel nodded. "But where will it take us?" Lyra smiled sadly. "To a safe place, a secret outpost where Earth and Varelian friends meet." They stood before the glowing gate. Asera took Daniel's hand. "Together," she said. Daniel squeezed her hand. "Always." They stepped into the light. The air shimmered around them. In a flash, they were gone, leaving the palace, the danger, and the past behind. The bright light faded, and Lieutenant Daniel Reese and Princess Asera found themselves standing in a new place, a quiet, hidden outpost, nestled among tall trees and softly glowing plants. The air was cool and fresh, carrying the faint scent of earth and flowers. Here, humans and Varelians had come together in peace long ago, though few remembered. Asera looked around with wide eyes. "This place, it feels like a dream." Daniel smiled. "It's a safe place, a beginning." For days they rested, meeting a small group of humans and Varelians who welcomed them warmly. Here, no one cared about politics or old grudges. Everyone wanted the same thing: peace and friendship between their worlds. But as much as the outpost offered safety, Asera's heart was heavy. She could not forget the palace, the throne, or her people waiting for her return. "I want to go back," she said one morning, standing beneath a tall crystal tree. Daniel looked at her carefully. "Are you sure? It won't be easy. The council will see you as a traitor." "I am a princess," she said firmly. "I have a duty. I cannot hide forever." Daniel nodded. "Then we face it together." Their return was quiet but tense. The palace guards were shocked to see the princess alive and well. Murmurs spread quickly throughout the city. In the great hall, Asera stood before the royal court, her eyes shining with determination. "My people," she began, her voice clear and strong. "I have returned not as a prisoner, but as your future, queen, and I bring a message." The nobles shifted uncomfortably, but Asera did not falter. "There are forces here, inside this palace, that would divide us and keep us afraid. They tried to silence me because I chose friendship over fear." Daniel stood beside her silently, a steady presence. Asera continued, "I have seen the courage of Earth's people. I have seen kindness where others saw threat, and I believe we can build a future where our worlds stand together." The king watched his daughter closely. His face was grave. "You speak boldly, Asera. Your words will inspire some and anger others." "I know," she said, "but silence is no longer an option." At that moment, the doors to the hall burst open. Guards rushed in, followed by the same group of nobles who had plotted in secret. "They seek to seize control," one declared. "The princess has betrayed Varelia." Chaos erupted. Daniel moved quickly, pulling Asera behind him as the hall became a battlefield. Virelian guards loyal to the king tried to hold the line against the rebels. With calm and skill, Daniel led the human guards in defending the princess and the loyalists. His training and experience turned the tide, protecting the innocent from harm. Asera raised her voice, singing an ancient Virelian song, a melody said to carry protective energy. The sound filled the hall, calming the frightened and weakening the attackers. Together, Daniel and Asera fought not just for their lives, but for the future of their worlds. When the dust settled, the traitors were captured or fled. The court was silent, the weight of what had happened settling heavily on everyone. The king stepped forward, placing a hand on Asera's shoulder. "You have proven your strength and your wisdom," he said softly. "This kingdom needs you now more than ever." Asera smiled, looking at Daniel. "Thank you for standing by me." Daniel nodded. "Always." In the weeks that followed, the alliance between Earth and Virelia grew stronger. Daniel was named Earth's official representative to the Virelian court, a symbol of trust and friendship. And Asera? She became more than a princess. She became a bridge between two worlds, showing that courage and kindness could overcome fear and division. Together, they dreamed of a future where humans and Virelians would explore the stars side by side, united not by fear, but by hope. The palace courtyard was alive with activity. Citizens from both Earth and Virelia gathered, their voices filled with hope and excitement. Banners of both worlds fluttered side by side, symbols of a new friendship born from courage and trust. The air was warm and full of promise, yet Daniel Reese stood quietly at Asera's side, alert and watchful. The battle for peace was far from over. Asera had grown strong, more confident than ever before. She smiled warmly at the crowd, then turned her gaze to Daniel. "We have come far," she said softly, "but the future still holds challenges." Daniel nodded. "There are still those who fear change, who want to see us divided. Just as—" He spoke. Alarms blared through the palace. The crowd gasped and scattered as the sound echoed through the stone halls. From the palace gates, a group of armored figures stormed forward, rebels from the old faction that had once tried to seize power. Their faces were grim, their weapons ready. Daniel drew his weapon. "Stay behind me." Asera stepped forward, raising her hands. She began to sing, the ancient Virelian song that had once calmed a battlefield. Her voice was clear and strong, weaving through the chaos. The rebels faltered, confusion spreading among them. The melody carried an energy, a protective force, that held them back. Daniel and the palace guards pushed forward to protect the crowd, defending the alliance they had fought so hard to build. Amidst the fight, Asera moved among the people, helping the wounded and calming the frightened. Her voice was a beacon of hope. The battle was fierce but brief. The rebels were captured or fled, defeated by the combined strength of human skill and Virelian unity. When the dust settled, Daniel and Asera stood together in the center of the courtyard. The people cheered, their voices rising in celebration. The king approached, placing a hand on his daughter's shoulder. "You have shown the true spirit of leadership," he said, "and you have shown us the power of unity." Asera smiled. "This is only the beginning." Daniel turned to her. "Together, we can build a future where no one fears the other." She nodded. "A future where humans and Virelians explore the stars side by side." As the sun set over the horizon, casting golden light across the courtyard, Daniel and Asera looked to the sky, knowing that their journey was just beginning.